My name is Amol Nirgadkar. I'm the CEO of Patient Prism, and I'm delighted to welcome Kathy Lynn-Culotta at Patient Prism Studios this morning.
Thank you.
And I'm really excited to have you here because one of the big topics of conversation in the DSO industry today is scaling and building growth models, right? How do you implement growth in a DSO? And so you've been doing this in many industries over the years. You've helped companies grow and scale in terms of revenue. And you talk about models a lot. So my question to really you is, how do you get into that framework of building a model that's going to allow you to grow predictably over your lifespan?
Okay. So let me start by just talking a little bit about the term business model, because I want to make sure that people are thinking about their business strategically. So really a business model really talks about your sources of revenue, what the services are you offer, how you're going to fund the business, those types of things, the customer base. So what I'm suggesting is that you, as you're planning your DSO, you think very intentionally about what that platform is that you want to build. And so there's a number of different things that you'd be thinking about, and I'll just go through a few of those. So for example, one of the things that you might be thinking about is how consistent a customer experience do you want in your DSO? Is it the kind of thing where you want the customer to have or the patient to have the same experience in every location? Or does it really change by location? Do you what kind of volume are you expecting by location? Because that will start to drive how much marketing activity, how many new patients, those kinds of things. And you might have very different views in terms of how big you want each location to be. There's also this issue around how you're building competencies. Are you going to build from existing competencies, or are you going to start to add competencies? So are you going to add specialization? Are you going to add different types of things? So there's a whole process of thinking about how you're going to build the business that you want. And that's really what we're talking about. And part of the reason why this thing is really important is that by making conscious choices around these things and then executing it very deliberately, that you're going to increase your speed in terms of building that DSO. And you'll also start to build more value in terms of predictable results by making conscious choices on your business model.
So what a model allows us to do is to look at the components of what will make the revenue grow. And then you segment those components and you kind of say, okay, here's what we want, and if we do this correctly, it'll contribute to revenue growth.
That's right.
And so it's more of a science than just, okay, let's just solve, a lot of times DSOs we see kind of struggle with lots of things and lots of complexity.
Well, it creates complexity, right? If you start to, for example, let's say that you've got a DSO that you're trying to build and you're actually trying to execute a couple different business models, right? Which we've met several folks that are trying to do that. What it does immediately is add complexity to your challenge of trying to build scale. So as you go through all these kinds of decisions, is really to think about, for where I want to go, the kind of business I want to build, what are the things that I need to pay attention to? How do I choose the right partners if, for example, you want to build a business through acquisition? If you have a very specific predictive model that's very consumer driven, you might be moving down a de novo path because you have to create what the experience that you want versus kind of acquire what they have. So there's a lot of things that kind of need to also be very connected in your thinking in terms of how you're going to get where you want to go.
And then, and at what point, obviously, this is very hard to do at home. You can't really, because as doctors who are trained to run dental practices don't really know how to put these elements together. At what point do you really seek help?
So I would say really when you're getting to the point where you've got comfort around your base business model, so you know what it is you're starting from. And then you're starting to wrestle a little bit with kind of how fast you want to grow, what geography you want to grow in, and how you're going to fund this business. Are you going to be able to get enough capital to grow in the way that you want? So as you're starting to make those choices, then you start to see whether or not some of your ideas in terms of what you're trying to build really hold together. So this goes back to, when I think about someone who's really got a very specific direct-to-consumer model, maybe something innovative, that they would be going down a path that's different than someone who's really building more of a loose affiliation of businesses. So part of what I think happens is that you're starting to wrestle with, do I have all the elements in place that allow me to get there? That sometimes it's good to have kind of a fresh eyes point of view and have someone come in and help you think through, do I have the right game plan for what I want to build?
These are great points. I think it's really important as DSOs think about building an organization,
Right.
To think about the model or models,
Right.
So that it'll allow them to predictably grow revenue.
Right.
And manage, right? And
Right.
manage the operations without it getting too complex. And,
Right.
and that's when you get people like you involved.
That's right.
Great discussion. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.